Live?
Yeah.
Are we live? Great. Okay, awesome. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you, Larry Roller, for agreeing to interviewing with us. We're continuing our series here at Disturbed Oasis podcast, interviewing candidates who are up for election, or in Mr. Roller's case, it would be re-election, and the Board of Supervisors race this fall. And so we wanted to hear what Mr. Roller has to say. Now, you represent Election District 2?
I do, yes.
Okay, yeah. Can you tell our audience, like, whereabouts is that? What's the geographic region?
Election District 2 is in the northeastern section of Halifax County. It goes along Clarkton Road down through Lenning, takes in one side of Crystal Hill, comes back over to what they call Temple Hill on 360 going to Halifax, back past Scottsburg School on one side of the road, goes along, hits railroad tracks, hits Difficult Creek, and it goes to the river. Everything on the east side of that. Now that also takes in the lower part of what we call Dryburgh Road, which is south of 360, takes into Clover Community, Mount Laurel, Providence, the Triangle Fire Department area. So yeah, that section of the county.
So like Scottsburg and Clover, any other town?
Well, you know the edge of Scottsburg. Scottsburg is in another district, but my district butts up pretty close to Scottsburg area.
Okay.
And if you look at the school district wise, yeah, I've got a lot of. I mean, the Scottsburg school district bleeds over into
your area,
to my area.
Okay.
Too, so, yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Now, how long have you been representing Election District 2 on the board?
This will be my fourth year, one term.
Okay, so one term so far.
Yes.
Okay. And we want to know a little bit more about your background. Who are you? What do you do? If you want to talk about career or anything business-wise.
I would. I grew up on a tobacco farm in the Mount Laurel community of a county. Graduated from Halifax County High School in 1974. Pursued higher education. Obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering Technology from Virginia Tech in 79. And was fortunate enough to come back and utilize my education in this county. I worked for Burlington Industries for 7 years as an engineer. And in between that work, and actually it was when NAFTA come through in the 80s and all the jobs went south, my job went with it. So, after that, I run a mobile tool dealership for a few years. And then the opportunity come with the Halifax County Public Schools, and they hired me as the Director of Operations and Maintenance for them, I think in 1990, and I served that position for 24 years. Within that time, I had to hire and manage my own staff. We had a staff of 18 people, I think, in the maintenance department. I did procurement for the school system, which required me following Virginia procurement code. I did projects. We put together budgets, capital improvement plans, and quite a few things. So I'm just and I'm presently retired. So it's other than the Board of Supervisors,
right?
And I have to say that takes more time than what I thought it would, but it's I feel like that my experience in the past, it's really varied, and a lot of what I dealt with were the same type things that go on in the county. So it's kind of like I'm knowledgeable in a lot of those areas. The few years that in between my public employment, running a mobile tool dealership for a few years, that was I know what it's like to run a small business and signing checks on both sides. So I mean, it's during that time of employment, I was fortunate enough, accumulated property near where I grew up or where I live now.
Right.
So, I being a landowner, I know how real estate taxes affect you too.
Right.
And I know that some people, Canada's been good to me. I've been fortunate. Increase in real estate taxes don't affect me like it does some people.
Yeah.
People on fixed incomes or people that have inherited land and they're sitting there and land is people always farm it. You could get an income off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's either you lease it to somebody to raise grain on it, or you raise trees or whatever. But it's but it's not readily income, and it gets to be land's almost like a liability.
Well, yeah, so this idea of property tax, is this part of your platform?
I would make the point that we need to be very aware of what we are charging as citizens for property or real estate taxes. And I'd have to say our real estate taxes in the county hadn't changed in, I don't know, 6-7 years.
The rates haven't changed. In recent years, the trend has been venture capitalist firms are buying everything at sticker price, and that's driven up the amount of tax that people are paying. Now in Pennsylvania County, the people kind of raised HECK, and they got them to thereby regress back to a previous tax rate, so that people didn't feel that pinch. But down here in Halifax, that didn't happen.
Okay, well, a lot of what's going on is we have reassessments every 2 years.
Yes.
And our reassessments have gone up, and the reassessments hadn't been much more than what the cost of living increases had been.
Right.
So, although our rates hadn't gone up, what you're paying in real estate tax has gone up because of the assessments. But I will make you aware that we'll reassess them this year in the county. And actually, I inherited a small piece of land in Charlotte County. They reassessed last year, and that assessment went up 42%. So I anticipate, and what I'm hearing land prices are now, what the stuff is selling for, our reassessments in that county are going to go up quite a bit.
Which will drive up property values and therefore
it will. Right? But what we need to do as a board is to realize that, so when property taxes go up, the rates need to go down.
Right.
I mean, the dollars don't need to go up just because the value went up. Now, people they will complain about, my land was assessed higher. Well, then what they think it is, they have in the state what they call an assessment ratio. And the assessment ratio is what the county assesses the land at and what it sells for. Okay. So they take that assessment ratio, and when you look at the State Corporation Commission that does a lot of assessments on our property that we draw taxes off, an example is called the power plant. They only, if they use the assessment ratio on the Clover power plant, so whatever they assess it at, they take that ratio, and that's what they pay taxes on. So
does that bump it up or down?
Well, basically what it will, as the ratio goes up, the amount of taxes we get from the utilities go up. So it's to the county's advantage to have the assessments in line where the assessment ratio is up. But then look at it and go, we'll lower the tax rates back down on this other end. And that makes sure that we aren't losing funds that's owed to county because we have lower assessments. And another thing too, I think this assessment ratio, I'm pretty sure that's figured into the composite index for school system funding also. So I'm just
in terms of how much we get back from the state.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just making it. But that's people complain, but it's good to have the assessments close to what stuff sells for.
Right.
It's up to the Board of Supervisors to make sure
to adjust accordingly so that you don't get the pitchforks when people don't want to pay more taxes.
That's correct.
Yes. Now you had something to ask?
Yes, just when you're talking about, thank you.
Yeah.
When you're talking about assessments, who's in charge of doing the reassessments? Is that part of this committee you're on?
No, that's a separate department in the county.
What's it called?
You do it in-house or do you hire out?
It's in-house.
So the assessments happen by Halifax County employees?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
What,
And that's in the treasurer's office.
the treasurer's office.
Yes, and see, we don't, we don't have any. The treasurer's office is totally independent of the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
And
All right.
they have an assessor's office up there. And that's what, and they go and do the assessments every year. And
The reason I'm asking is because last year I had this house was reassessed, and it more than tripled in value. I dread my tax bill this year.
Yeah.
But the conversation that was, and I don't mind, I'll pay my fair share if it's worth that, whatever. But the conversation I had with the person that came out and assessed the house, he said, we very rarely get someone ask, because I asked for this assessment. And he said that rarely happens. He said, you wouldn't believe how many houses in this county are valued at about a third of what their value is, like mine was. But now mine's been properly assessed and it's properly taxed.
Well, I mean, and they also, from a county standpoint, you can go challenge your assessment. I've done it before on property.
But I think my question is more of how is this more fair and equitable to everybody? Because if my house is valued at, say, $200,000, and the one next to me is even nicer, but it's assessed at $50,000, what kind of protection is that to make it fair and equitable?
Well, it's my understanding is that they go in and do reassessments periodically. And that's probably when they come in and do the reassessments on this one. I know they hit mine every couple, 3 years.
Right. Now, that's the first one I'd had in 15 years.
Yeah.
That's why mine was assessed so low. And I knew that was an issue.
And,
but the conversation is what
Yeah.
shocked me, that there's a lot of property here that is way undervalued.
And that's hurting our assessment ratio.
Exactly.
Yes.
But it's not part of the Board of Supervisors.
It's not part of the Board of
Okay.
Supervisors.
Thank you.
Correct.
Is that in, who's the head of the Treasury Department? What's the position called?
It's the Commissioner of Revenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is that an elected position?
Yes.
Okay. Now, pinning you down on a platform point. So you would like to see changing the property tax rate in a commensurate way with how much property values are increasing.
Oh, yeah, that's all part of our budget process.
Yes.
That we go through every year.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean that's part of what the finance committee will work on when we do a budget next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would be an advocate for that process.
Oh, I'd be an advocate to make sure that if the assessments go up, that we bring the rates down.
Okay.
So we don't overcharge people.
To keep it level. Yeah. Okay, great. Now, what else is on your platform? What else have you put out there, stuff that you're running on?
I've got transparency in local government.
Okay.
And part of that was, I think the meetings need to be streamed. I feel like that the business that's bought before the board, really, it needs to come up the previous meeting. I would like the board to look into this issue. And at that time, well, if it's something that needs to go before a committee, assign it to a committee. Let them go and do their groundwork and let them bring a recommendation back to the board. And what I've experienced lately is that, I'll come into a meeting or an item will show up on the agenda.
Right.
And I'm going like, wow, I'm wondering what this is about. And I come into a meeting and something is presented and it's voted on. And I'm sitting there going like, I don't know about y'all, but I like my information ahead of time. I like to do my research. So, I like to be prepared. I don't like to make split-second decisions. I'm data-driven. Give me the data.
So what you're saying is that you, as a sitting board member, are sometimes surprised by the agenda for the monthly meeting when you arrive at the monthly meeting.
I'm surprised when I received my board package on the Thursday before the meeting on Monday. And there's
Oh,
something
okay.
listed on the agenda. I'm going like,
So
well,
it's
I wonder.
last minute.
I wonder what this is about.
So what you're saying, the difference in what you think should happen versus what's happening now is you think that the agenda for next month's meeting should more or less be decided by the end of the current month's meeting.
Oh, well, if you got something new, if you got something that's going to go on the agenda, it needs to be brought up in the meeting. But of course, emergencies always come up.
Okay.
I mean, that happens, but not everything is an emergency.
When you get that board packet, is that your main form of communication y'all get with each other?
Well, that when we get a board package. The board package comes on Thursday
Right.
before the meeting,
Right.
and I receive it, and that's the board. It's got the agenda, and it's got all the
research,
and all the information on all the agenda items. And when I get that board, it's my opportunity to go through and study and whatever and read
and those packets are like 200 some pages, right?
And it's pretty time consuming.
Yeah.
And then if I get it on Thursday, normally I'm going to take the weekend reading it, and we have Monday night meetings.
So it gives you
If I have any
3.5
questions,
days.
I mean it's I would I would like things to be a little bit more upfront. I mean it's I reckon I'm trying to say I want to slow down, but it's not it. But it seems like me that we always in a hurry because everything's an emergency now. Not everything.
So what you're implying there is that stuff's being pushed through and rushed through, perhaps precisely for purposes of reducing transparency.
I don't know that it's being done on purpose, but I do know that I'm on the board, and and heck, half the time I don't know what's going on. I mean, so I know they can't be transparent for the people or the public when I'm on the board and not seeing it. So
Have you voiced this to other members that I don't?
Of course I do.
And their reaction?
I mean, I don't get a lot of reaction, and it's again maybe everybody likes to make split second decisions. Well, if I'm doing real, but like I say, I like to be able to. I made this decision, and I voted this way because of X, Y, Z. And my whole career with Halifax County public schools was every decision I made, I had in my mind, can I go before the school board and justify my decision?
Right.
And now they may not always agree with my decision, but in my mind, I can justify that decision.
So some of these
we have stuff going on now that I don't have time to justify my decision, which I would have to say is that most of it's not my decision anyway because I'm on the I'm in the minority on votes. So
right.
I mean, that's But anyway.
Okay.
That's just kind of my take.
Okay, so in other words, it's not just the streaming issue, but we want some more transparent practices behind the scenes as well.
Oh yes,
that's part of what we're saying. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say in terms of your platform? You've talked about transparency so far, and
I've got several things.
Being tax rate sensitive.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Support of private landowner rights.
Private landowner. Could you tell us more about that?
Okay. Well, I'll get around to that, but
okay.
My thought is that if you own property,
yes,
and if you pay taxes on that property, you should be able to do whatever you want to with that property, as long as it does not violate state law, county code, or if it does not infringe on your neighbor's enjoyment of that property.
Like open a strip club?
Well, we have an ordinance against that.
Well, okay, so
wait. I'm deeply invested in this topic. Are you working on that?
No.
On that
No,
ordinance?
but my first thought of that is
So-
what has been not allowed that you feel that should have.
Okay,
Because
well,
there's a reason for
And
this.
let me just add to that question. Yeah, that question, and by extension, are you referring to zoning law reform?
I think we need to look. I think we need to look at our. We do need to look at our zoning laws. Yes,
Okay.
we do. And that's another part.
Yeah,
of,
but please give
that's
me-
another part of my platform. That's strategically planned industrial development, which
Okay.
which
So that
has to
connects
do
with
with zoning and planning.
Yeah.
Yes.
But please
Yes.
answer Lisa's question of like an example of something that
Okay.
can be done.
People come and they have a piece of property. They want to do something. In our zoning codes require. If it's something that's questionable, it requires what they call a conditional use permit.
Yes.
And that gives the county time to look at, okay, this guy is opening this, go operate this business here, and he gives the county, and the neighbors will go, I don't like this, I got this, I got that. But that way they express all their concerns, and maybe we can put conditions on this company that will address their concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And an example I'll have was in my district.
Well, a lot of this goes through the planning commission. Is that correct?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Is
It
there-
goes through the planning commission, but it's Dietrich easily. But you get the planning commission, but we attend the same public hearings,
Yeah. Oh, then you guys have
and
joint
then
meetings
the
sometimes.
planning commission votes on. They make a recommendation to the board, but the board's duty
Decide.
is to decide
Right.
ultimately on it. So it's okay.
Is zoning is that completely separate, or is that one of these committees here?
Well, zoning goes
That's
through.
that's different. That's not only
Like with the assessment, that's a whole different thing.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
thank
a whole-
you.
that's a whole
I'm
different
just
thing.
getting
Well,
clarification.
an
Thanks.
example of the we had a guy that owned Clover Elementary School, and he wanted to put an RV park.
Right. I remember that. Okay.
Okay. Now of course, all the neighbors around there were concerned
Yeah.
because when you think about that, they're going like, who's coming in, how it's going to be controlled, and
Right.
Transient people. Worried about that.
and I went and I actually sat down with the neighbors and we had coffee and I got all their concerns and we went back and we tried to make conditions to alleviate
To
their
the
concerns.
to the
So,
CUP, so that everybody can be okay with the decision.
yes.
Okay.
Now, the decision was made to allow it. The
Right.
neighbors really won't tickle with the decision, but the feedback I get from them now, hey, that thing's over there. I go even harder than what's there.
Okay.
But that's an example. But I'm amazed at when people come in and want to do something. These neighbors come in and we're gonna get to solar here in a minute. But
Okay.
a guy owns a couple of hundred acres of land, and he's got a couple of neighbors around here that they gonna tell him what he can do with his couple of hundred acres of land. I know they're neighbors, but they sitting on 2 acres. Who's paying it? But to me, the landowner has rights, and as far as the solar part of it, we have ordinances in place in a conditional use permit to address screening and those type things.
Or visibility from the highway.
Visibility. I can understand visibility.
Right.
But what are you concerned about? You concerned about noise. You concerned about odors. You concerned about traffic. You concerned all this will have a negative impact on you. But still, the landowners have rights too.
So,
that's kind of my point.
So are you speaking more to a change in protocol and policy in terms of how these land use requests are processed or rezoning, or are you more speaking to an attitude of the people who currently make these decisions?
I'm speaking more of an attitude.
So it's not that the process needs to be reformed. It's that you would like to see certain people have more open minds about when people who have a critical mass of land, they pay a high amount of property value tax.
Yeah.
That helps to fund the county, and a lot of times in your position would be what these folks want to do with their land will generate even more revenue. Does that speak to your thing?
Yes.
But having that in your platform, what would be a plan then to change people's attitude? Since it's part of your platform, for re-election.
I think more of it is to be able to explain the conditional use permit process, just like I did.
Okay.
So once people understand that, it's a process for to go through, and that's what the conditional use permit for, is to address concerns and not have a negative impact.
So the landowners and the landowners' neighbors need to know about the CUP process so that they can participate.
Oh yeah,
and reduce the amount of brakes that get pumped on the landowners themselves.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, it's when we go through the planning and zoning process or conditional use process, all the adjoining landowners are notified. But we do get complaints because these are adjoining landowners. You might have somebody down the road.
Right.
Or whatever,
but
but it's still like it's An example of solar is 40% of solar in the county is in election district number 2.
40% is in
40% is in my election district.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are, I thought solar brings a lot of revenue for the county.
Okay.
Solar has been built out, has bought in $1.2 million worth of revenue, around $1 million worth of revenue.
Per year?
Yeah. And if we build it out, it'll bring in $1.6 million a year.
So does this mean you're pro-solar?
Well, I'm pro-revenue. I'm pro-landowner rights, and I'm pro-revenue. Now, I'm going to tell you about this revenue now. $1.6 million, that's 4 cents. That's 4 cents on real estate taxes. Okay? And we got a 50% rate, that's like 8%. If it weren't for the solar that we got coming in right now, for us to have the same budget, the real estate taxes have to be 8% higher than what they are right now.
Okay.
We have, Halifax County has 500,000 acres of land. 500,000 acres of land. We got 5,000 acres in solar. 1%. 1%. Everybody goes, oh, that's a whole lot. But you know what? That's 495,000 acres of land. That's not.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, you can have too much of anything. My dad always says you can drink too much water.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, that's true.
We can have too much of that. But sure, it's a limit. It's a limit. But I feel like that the county could stand more. If we could do 2% in the county, which that's going to give us like $3.4 million of revenue a year. You know what that'll pay for? That'll pay for EMS services and fire departments in the whole county.
Right.
By solar. Not coming out of the taxpayer's pocket.
I just need you to clarify something for me, and forgive my ignorance, because a lot of this is just unknown territory for me. What I hear you saying is that a special use permit is required for someone to do something with their property, and that it would usually pass as long as the objections are overcome with solutions.
No.
Okay,
it's what of it's a settlement. Hey, it will pass for 5 votes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's not.
Well, most of these things go through the planning commission first to be processed.
Yeah.
Right.
The planning commission makes the recommendations. They toss it
to the board, and then the board approves or disapproves.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's based not necessarily on have all conditions been met, but what we feel like.
Yeah, Mr. What the greater wisdom of our elected officials determines which way they go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so, what Mr. Roller's advocating for as part of his platform, a more open attitude.
Yeah, I get that. But I was trying to figure out what the hang-up was. So flipping past that, what would be an objection to having solar power put on someone's land?
Well, people complain about aesthetics. People complain about possibility of farmland toxification. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yes, and they will. It's a lot of complaints. They talk like the panels are toxic, which they aren't. Now, listen, when I got on the board and I did a lot of study, a lot of research. And the more I studied and the more I researched, the more I'm going like, these things are no problem. Now, hey, I know they take farmland, I know they take forest land, and I know that people don't like to change. And other people say, well, when I was when I always wanted to fish that pond. I was always going to hunt this land. But that's because the landowner was kind enough to let you use the property for that. Now he wants to use it for something else. So I mean, that's people just don't like change. I think that's the main thing.
But like you said, only 1% is being used.
That's correct. That's correct. Now some people, I mean, we've had comments made in the board meeting that solar is a farce. It won't support itself with our government funding, and I'm going like, how do these things generate money? And I've gone through the numbers on them, and 1 megawatt of solar will generate 10,000 kilowatt hours an hour.
Okay.
And then if you look at the rate, I think Dominion will sell green energy for like 10 cents. Or, I mean, I'm paying 7 cents for my regular thing at home. So you figure that's 8 cents. That's close to, if you calculate at the end of the year, 1 megawatt will generate a couple $100,000 worth of electricity. And then if you got a little small one that generates 5 megawatt, that's $1 million worth of income a year that these solar panels are pumping into the grid. You also have community solars, which lower income families can sign up to get reduced electrical rates from them. Okay, but then you get into the commercial ones. But you take a commercial one like, I've got one in my district on Roger Chapel Church Road, 80 megawatts. So you take that per megawatt times 80. That gets into a whole lot of money. I mean, you're talking about $16 million a year, I believe. I mean, it can generate.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, these things do generate income, and it doesn't take government subsidies for companies to operate them.
So you want to see less red tape at the local level?
Well, I think what we are doing is fine as far as, I mean, hey, our county solar ordinance is kind of everybody in the state uses Halifax County solar ordinance. They copy them because we're supposed to have some of the best in the state.
Yeah, we're very well marketed to by those things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, so we're still on platform. You're on the Public Safety Committee, and we wanted to give you opportunity to talk about emergency services, but we do have to consider time, and we do want to transition into factionalism. So, do you want to say anything about emergency services or any other platform points that you haven't brought up?
And I would like to say, as far as emergency services, we did staff North Halifax EMS full-time crew, which has been very beneficial to the northern end of the county. It's also given the Halifax Rescue Squad some relief because they aren't running up there. So it's really helped the whole system.
Yes.
And we have the State Fire Commission doing study. And the matter is, where are we going next?
Okay.
And we just need to keep on moving forward. I know it's going to take funds. Everything meshes together, and I just talked about revenue a little bit ago, and I talked about, it's laying on, everything fits together.
Well, a moment ago, you implied that you think it would be ideal if a lot of our EMS, our fire agencies were paying the people as opposed to being volunteer.
Well, it's unfortunately it used to be years ago. You had a lot of people that farmed. They were pretty close around. You had a call, they could drop what they're doing and go right there. So and that generation is aging.
We don't live like that anymore.
We don't live like that anymore. So people aren't available. So you both gonna have to have someone at a station to be able to get a truck out and go.
Right.
And I think EMS more so important than a fire truck.
Right.
I mean, you burn a house down. I mean, that's bad. But losing a life
it's terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well,
So
I'm inclined to agree because when I hear conversations about the rate of the response rate that is the goal that they want these agencies to get to, my thought is, but somebody's got to get paid. You know what I mean? Like it's like you said, it seems like somebody would have to almost be in the building 24/7 to get to those goals.
Yeah.
You know.
Another thing about the emergency service, and I know I'm getting long with you, but you've got a lot of community in these volunteer fire departments.
They're community building agencies.
And we really don't. I mean, as a county, do we going to take that over and just take that away from them? No.
Right.
We want to keep the
ladies
community.
auxiliaries,
We want to keep that community thing going on because that's that's the fabric of the that's the glue that holds everything together.
They build the culture.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. So
okay. So keep doing. In other words, if things are going in the good direction, keep going the way they're going.
Yes.
In terms of supporting emergency services.
Yes.
I do have the question: why you versus your opponent James Dixon? And unless there's something else you want to bring up platform-wise, we can then talk about board factionalism. So why you versus James Dixon?
Well, hey, I know James. James is a good guy. I think a lot of it. James is very community oriented.
Okay.
I know that. But I just feel like that my background and what I've done in the past, it gives me a lot more experience when it comes to the matters that come before the board and being able to make decisions that will be the best decision for the county.
So your work experience and your previous experience on the board, you think, kind of edges you out in terms of being able to be what Election District 2 needs?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Lisa, did you have another question? Okay. All right. So is that enough for YU versus James Dixon?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. Now, so let's get into sort of the meat and potatoes of some of the recent controversies of this calendar year.
Okay.
You guys are having quite a year over at the Board of Supervisors.
Oh, yeah.
And are you having fun yet? Basically what the picture that is sort of shaping is that there's the group of 5 and then there's a group of 3.
Yes.
And it seems like a group of 5 is voting in a certain direction, a group of 3 is voting in another certain direction. So, this is not the first time, I've covered lots of different counties in the region. So this is not the first time I've seen an unhealthy faction dynamic on a local board. We want to give you some time to talk about that, but especially in light of there was a Facebook controversy. A woman posted this about committees, okay? So she said Claiborne, referring to the chairman, William Bryant Claiborne, decides what reaches the board's agenda, and through committees, he controls what the public even gets to see. Committees are where the real work happens. They divide the load, dig deeper, and shape decisions long before the full board ever votes. Supervisors Wicks, Roller, and Smart are largely sidelined from the most influential committees, and we do have a list of all the committees here. And we do notice that the pattern is that a lot of the heavy-hitting committees are populated solely from members of the group of 5. And so we just want to give you some space to talk about that. My questions are, is this factional dynamic healthy for the county? And let's speak about this committee issue. What's your side of the story when it comes to these committees?
The committees allow for a purpose, and they allow when items come before the board, they should be presented to the committee so they can have county staff bring them information, they can do research, they can kind of get down in the weeds and do what they want to do, and make a good decision and bring it back to the board, because there's no way the board can grasp everything. I feel like that when you're setting up committees, you need to look at who you have on the board, what's their background, what would be a good fit for them on their committee.
What they bring to the table?
Yeah, what they bring to, and of course, with me, buildings and grounds are no brainer, because that's what I did my whole life.
Right.
So, but then again, it's also history or knowledge. If you've been on the board, it's if you've been on the board for a number of years and you've been involved in finance, obviously finance is, it takes a while to grasp what's going on in the city, nuances of it, and so a year on the finance committee, it really takes about that time for you to really get where you can get in and see what's going on and do it well. And do it well, and so if you're assigning committees, you need to, if you got a new member coming on, you need to, if you want to move, let him move into this committee where he can do it, but you need to leave 2 strong ones on it that's had the experience.
Yeah.
And that's the way I would do it if I was assigning committee members, but I will never assign committee members because I never want to be chairman of the board.
Well, so you sort of set up a long wind up for how does what you think should be done contrast to what's being done, and let's say it directly compared to what Chairman Claiborne is doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean it's basically the chairman or the chairman and the vice chairman or whatever, they will
and that's David Brandon.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the committee assignments. I mean it was So
this is an example of factionalism in your opinion?
Yes.
This is a concrete application of factionalism that some are arguing is affecting everything in terms of the county's official business.
I don't think it's having a positive impact on county function.
What kind of impact is it having? And then at least I had a question too, right?
Okay. Well, I mean, to start with, I think not enough things are getting to committee.
Oh, so and some committees haven't even met?
Yes.
That's what I was going to interject here, is that we have 19 committees, you're on 5, and I think you told me 3 of the 5 you're on haven't met. Are some of these committees, would they be considered busy work, or why is things not brought? Is there any kind of responsibility to keep a committee active?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. I mean, if they don't meet, and if there's no issue in the area, why even have a committee? Maybe we need to narrow it on down. But I mean, the committees that had to handle stuff, and I know that. One of them, you mentioned the surplus committee. The surplus committee hadn't met, but that comes up. The county on occasion has surplus they need to get rid of. The sheriff's department has surplus they need to get rid of.
Spend the money so you get it again next year.
Yeah, but you do need a committee to approve that stuff. And one thing that we run into was when you have animal seizures and it county ends up owning animals that have been seized. How do you handle that? How do you handle that? The surplus committee needs to. But we hadn't had that situation, but we did before. We did have a committee, and there was complaints about how that was handled. So I mean, but that was the reason for it. But I'm gonna say that committee is probably needed, but maybe I'm going to meet once a year.
I'm interested in expressing this in brass tacks. So the fact that not all these committees are meeting or meeting as often as maybe you feel they should, is that actually impacting quality of life in Halifax County or anything tangibly?
One committee, we get the personnel and policy committee. With all the personnel issues that we have going on in the county, and people leaving and new people coming in, and we are, I mean, it's I'm not aware of them meeting. So who's making the decisions?
So is there any requirement, because these are all like official committees that are doing official business?
Yeah.
And it looks like there's most of them have at least 3 supervisors on them at any given time.
Yeah.
So is there any requirement that these committees be advertised to the public beforehand? Are these committees even open to the public?
The committees are open to the public, and they are advertised on the county website calendar when meetings are held.
Okay, so they're listed, in other words.
Yes, and in fact, and they are open meetings. And if you have a committee meeting,
yes,
if I'm not on the committee, I can actually go sit in. I
can't participate. You can sit in, but you can't vote. And
I can't participate.
Okay.
That is correct.
Can't vote.
But I mean, but they are public committees, so it's not anything private there.
Okay, great. Okay, so all right. In other words, and pragmatically speaking, I'm interested in what can be done about this idea, because what I see is that like there's maybe sort of like this specter of a power struggle between this side and this side. let's say hypothetically speaking that your faction gets into power after the election this fall. What's the concept? Is the concept going to be to just do the reverse version of what Mr. Claiborne's doing, or is it maybe time to think that what we have seen is that the chair position has too much power, and should we maybe change some policies about how much power that position has?
Okay. The chair position is voted on by the majority of the board.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, they are giving him the authority to do this.
The group of 5 has put him in the chair position, but it's the county bylaws or the county constitution can be changed in terms of this part, where the chairman gets to decide who goes on all the committees. That process can be reformed.
Well, I've possibly so, but I don't know. It's basically we don't need a group of 5. We need a group of 8.
Well, that'd be ideal. That would be ideal.
We need a group of 8 where everybody works together for a common cause.
I think everybody would like to see that.
Well, I mean, and if you had that, and if you set these committees up and utilize the people everybody's got different talents and utilize the people to their best on the committees you put them on, that would be best for the county to me.
But how do we make this happen? It seems that would be the ideal, but you're running an election, so you're in terms of like what you want the voters to get behind you to support you for. Pragmatically speaking, if you guys get elected, is the idea to keep the chair position as it is and just and not change the way that this process happens, or is the concept the concept there being that you guys would do it better or other people would do it better? Or it has the time come to put in some fail-safes in place in case something like this happens again?
I don't think you can regulate personalities of people on the board.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, that's one of my things. You know, I give individual consideration to each issue that comes before the county. And I have no loyalty to anyone.
Right.
And everyone should be that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if everyone had done that, you did what's best for the county, that's a no issue.
Right.
So,
the loyalties to the citizen.
That's right. The loyalties to the citizens, not the one to know.
So again, it's more of an attitude thing. We don't want to change the process. We just want the attitude of the people doing the process to shift.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, we want to. I'm ready to move on to the controversies. Is there something you wanted to add to that topic? Okay, so let's go to some of the specific controversies. We had the attempt to give board members a raise back in the summer. You've already brought up lack of transparency, and then there was the animal control lawsuit, and then I want to get to Tamika Morgan separately. So what do we think about the idea of the group of 5 trying to give themselves a raise, give all of you a raise, and then the backtrack?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I think of it. That was quid pro quo right there.
Tell me more.
We had a solar farm vote going on. It was a tie vote. Mr. Pennell.
This is juicy.
Mr. Pennell
this is juicy.
was in favor of the solar farm. And it become a tie vote. And the tiebreaker says, I'm going to take my 30 days and study this.
Okay.
So he studied and he comes back. But the night of the meeting, Mr. Pennell had been wanting a raise. So, Pete Riddle, anti-solar, made a motion to give us a raise. Mr. Pennell got his raise. When we voted for the solar facility, once the tiebreaker voted, we had to remake the motions for the solar facility again. Yeah. Mr. Pennell changed his vote.
To be against solar.
To be against it. So he gets a raise, and then he's against something that he had voted for. So I mean, I don't know that's what's going on, but that's the way it looked to me.
So you're not reporting anything that happened behind the scenes. You're just
look at the votes.
You're just looking at the votes, and the prevailing theory is that this turned out to be a quid pro quo.
Yes.
That to get on board with this particular solar project, Mr. Pennell wanted extra money.
Well, I don't know if it was deal made, but I know what I saw. I know.
And then the events of reversing course there, or did you have a question?
No.
Yeah, then the events of reversing course, it became kind of a scandal, and then it got undone. So how did that figure in?
It got undone because they were trying to, they were trying to get reelected. and everybody was giving them such a hard time. We were like, oh, we done made a mistake here. We have to back up on this thing. We stand any chance.
Public outcry, which shows you the voice of the citizen is powerful.
Yes.
It was.
Citizens should use it.
And I'm going to tell you, really, we had looked, our pay in Halifax County is in line with all the other counties around. It's not below. It's in line, or maybe a little bit more.
Right.
And in fact, when we just got a $5,000 raise a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Can I ask how much you get paid?
Yeah, how much
we get paid
per year?
Let me see. I believe it's $9,000 a year.
9,000.
So $9,000 a year,
I
what
think
you go through this for. And how many hours would you say a week you put into it?
Depends on how many committees you own and if committees meet.
Well,
last year I spent a lot of hours. I'm not.
It could almost be a full-time job.
Yeah, it can be
for $9,000 a year.
Can be. But I've always. I mean, you can always figure. Once or twice a week.
Right.
I mean, you got something going on, and if I got a committee meeting, if I got something to go do, that's a half a day by the time you could go do it. Come and then preparing for meetings. So yes, it can. Yeah.
So $9,000 a year, and you're saying that's in keeping with other counties around. That's about right. So obviously, this should be a job of service, duty, and love for your county.
It is.
However, that $9,000 can be enhanced by other ways.
Okay, I don't know how, but anyway, go ahead.
Kickbacks and patty whacks.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak about kickbacks and patty whacks?
Well, if you want to, I mean, we were talking about it.
Is that a problem? Is there a specter of corruption in the county?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't feel.
So you don't think there's any type of
impropriety,
quid pro quo?
Yeah, quid pro quo
going on with anything to do contractually or?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think. Of course, people like to stir, but I don't see it.
Okay. All right, now moving on to other controversies. The animal control lawsuit. 2 people were terminated from animal control, and then they seem to file a lawsuit specifically against the group of 5 members. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And would you have any thoughts on that controversy?
Other than that, I'm just that just seems that that was the first of many to me. And and from what I saw, they were let go for doing their job.
Okay.
And
you think it was a bad call to let them go?
Well, yes. I mean, they were doing their job. I mean, and the complaints they got were basically due to animal seizures. They had gone to court, and the judge had said that everything was proper and everything was, but it was just. But then again, our board can, we can, we can release people for that reason, for a cause, and that's what we're going on by.
Yeah, a right to work state, in other words.
Yes,
Virginia's a right to work state. Yeah. Okay, so you think that they made the wrong call. What do you think their reasons were for terminating those 2 individuals?
I do not know. It's a lot that is going on that I do not know.
Okay.
I don't know. But I tell you what I do think. I'm sitting there and I'm trying to put logical thoughts to illogical actions, and it don't work.
Does that? Okay.
So, yeah.
So
I will say that.
So it's not matching up in other words.
Not
the
way my thought process works.
The logic is not lining up. Okay, well, let's move on to Ms. Tamika Morgan. Now, I actually need a little bit more information here because someone has recently told me Ms. Morgan actually worked in the director of finance position prior. Is that true, or another position in the county?
She was hired as temporary.
After the one who was holding that position left.
You're talking about our full-time county employee left?
Yeah, because in other words...
Yeah, Tamika Morgan, she was hired, I don't know, in April or May.
April, right.
Yeah, it's April or May.
And how long was she in that position then?
Well, she was temporary, and the main thing she was brought on to do was to help guide us through the budget process and to kind of flip the books from one year to the next and all that stuff.
So she was hired as a temporary position. Did she work out the full position, or did she resign early?
Well, to start with, she had a contract at the end of June.
Okay, so
Then she went like, if I work past the end of June, my rates are gonna go up.
Okay,
and
so
they went up
money.
considerably. Yeah, and
so they changed her rate to keep her at the end of June, or was her rate going?
She said, yeah, I got stuff going on, and I'm gonna, and if I work past this, my rate's gonna be so and so. And I'm not sure exactly. I think it was $225. I may be wrong. I mean, it's so many numbers run around.
$225 per hour.
Per hour.
Okay.
Per hour.
To just do the finance director position.
To do the finance work, and then
so y'all gave her a raise in June.
That's basically what happened. She got a raise in June.
Okay.
And then she resigned.
So she got the raise that she asked for. Why did she then resign?
Well, from what emails I got back and forth, she had sent an email to the county administrator, Scott Simpson, requesting guidance.
Yes.
And then and he responded to her request.
Yes. Which
I read it and I thought it was complete and proper. And then she resigned, and kind of she indicated something about the tone of his email or whatever. But yeah, she went ahead and resigned, and I think she kind of threw Scott under the bus on that. But that's just my thought.
Okay, so in other words, she resigned. She got the raise that she'd asked for, which was her condition for staying.
Yeah.
Then through an email exchange with Scott Simpson, something in Scott's email offended her.
Yeah.
And then she ended up resigning anyway, despite having gotten the raise.
Yes.
And then when was her last day in that position? Or
I think
June into July?
I think that was into July. Yeah.
Beginning of July, kind of.
That was the middle of July.
So she.
That was about 2 weeks before the August board meeting.
Right. So she resigned in the middle of July, and then in late August, because you had the regular meeting in August, the regular county business meeting, and then there was a whole special meeting at the end, toward the end of August to hire Miss Morgan.
Yeah.
And so there was that timeline of, let's say, about a month where Miss Morgan was not employed by Halifax County. And then through that special meeting that took place later in August, the second meeting in August, Miss Morgan was hired to do 2 positions, making $25,500 per month plus benefits. And to do those 2 positions, which are both full-time positions, both ideally they're salary positions. So usually a salary job, especially a salary so high, you're at least 40 hours a week, but really you pay people salary because they're supposed to work more. Yeah. So we're supposed to get, let's say, at least 80 to 100 hours of labor per week out of that salary, and now we're getting, it seems to be 16 hours per week. That's a pretty big difference. What are your thoughts on all this, and how did it play out, and why are we in this predicament?
I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Sorry, but
no, you're fine, because while you're doing that, I just want to clarify, because a piece of this has only recently been relatively new to me. I didn't realize, even though you told me or not, that she had worked for the county before. So what I'm hearing here is, what was the title? Finance director?
She was interim finance.
She was hired as a temporary finance director, and when that contract ran out, she wanted more money. Y'all gave it to her. Then she resigned, and then a little bit later, because of a kerfuffle with Simpson, she was rehired in 2 positions, part-time,
for a whole lot more money.
But more money. So that's going to run out in 4 months. Is she going to ask for more money? They're going to do it again?
I mean, she's an emergency interim. So, and I'm going to have to say, Miss Morgan, she's got a good resume. I mean, I'm sure she's a smart woman and she can do a fine job. But I'm going to tell you, you can't do 2 people full-time job 2 days a week. And the money was just, I mean, it was just, that was too much. It really, the money, number 1, and number 2, they did not define hours.
Wow.
They did not define, they defined she needed to be at the office here. 2 days a week. And then she would work remotely, but they did not define hours. I did not like either one of those. I expressed both of those. And, but anyway, I mean, that's why again, it's one of them decisions that logic didn't add up to me.
See, and I'm a little bit stuck on she resigned, they rehired her and fired Mr. Simpson. Why would you rehire someone who resigned, especially at 2 jobs? You see what I'm saying? Logic. Well, it's not logical to me.
Well, why? You know, you said she had a great resume.
Her resume look good.
And then for 2 months she was already working here. So when she gets this big pay raise up to $25,500 per month, plus travel benefits, plus other benefits, maybe was her job performance just the best they'd ever seen? You know, between the months of April and June, like maybe the most amazing finance director we've ever had.
Well,
type of level.
I mean,
it's 2 jobs. Remember, it's 2 jobs.
Well, if you're that great at that job, maybe you can be that great at 2 jobs.
Well, I mean, I hate to throw this out there, but I'm gonna do it. Maybe the people in charge of hiring her wanted someone that they think they could have influence over, as far as her moving down the road in a direction they want to go in.
Oh, so she might be a yes person. You know?
Well, she may be.
And
she may be. Well, maybe they are hoping that she may be. I don't know that she is. I actually thought she resigned because she won.
Oh, I see.
Okay, right. But then again, we back in now like it is. So all I can do.
Where does she live? Where does she come up from?
Chesterfield, I believe.
Oh, right outside of Richmond.
Yeah, she's in Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's required to come here 2 days a week.
2 days a week. That's correct.
The taxpayer's paying for her hotel room.
No, she's driving back and forth. We're paying her mileage.
So she can do 2 separate days.
Yeah, she could 70-some miles to ride back and forth. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in other words, and then this scandal has blown up, and it just seems like, in your opinion, is the board actually meeting this moment at all, or are they trying to sweep it under the rug? Like what's happening?
I saw it at our last board meeting.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I hadn't had any committee meetings. I hadn't been in Central, so I can't really answer that question. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, we were there too, so nothing new happened. So okay. All right.
There was a nice big crowd there, though.
A nice big crowd that were kind of quiet.
Yes, but still, they showed up.
Yeah, and they threw eye darts.
And maybe next time they'll speak out.
I was surprised. Yeah. I was surprised.
Surprised by what? How
quiet it was. So
yeah, well, it seemed obvious why people were there.
Yeah,
you could feel it.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving along. Okay, so there's been a lot of controversy surrounding Scott Simpson's name. You know, there have been some concerns about possible nepotism when he allowed Todd Moser to resign instead of firing him back in 2021 after the state police caught the embezzlement scandal. There's been some indications that Mr. Simpson, at least nominally, maybe not functionally, may be under investigation for reports of a self-dealing scandal and concepts that he participated in impropriety in terms of reporting conflicts of interest through documentation. Your group, the group of 3, you, Mr. Witt, and Mr. Smart, have been sort of perceived as trying to protect Scott Simpson's job. Is there sort of what reasons did you feel to support Scott Simpson and go against the idea of terminating him earlier this year? And do you have anything to say in terms of the controversies that have been attached to Mr. Simpson's name?
Okay, well, I would like to say that at the beginning, I've been serving as a supervisor for my district for 4 years, but I also served 2 years as tiebreaker prior to that.
Okay.
So I've been on the board for 6 years.
Okay.
And Scott has been here for 7, so I've been here the majority of the time. Scott's been here.
Of his time here. Okay.
Yeah, and I've worked with a lot of people, but Scott was, he was one of the most intelligent people that I've ever dealt with. Mm-hmm. He's navigated this broadband thing through the county, and as far as getting grants and working to get us going, we're coming down to the end of that. Mm-hmm. VIR You know, they're trying to get water and sewer up there.
Mm-hmm.
He worked through that grant thing. He ended up, I think he got $10 million to get water and sewer to the IR.
Okay.
At no cost to the county.
Mm-hmm.
As far as infrastructure, say the 58 corridor, some of the ideas that he talked about that need to be done up there. A 58 corridor where we're trying to develop, we got one water line running up the road.
Mm-hmm.
If we have an issue, no water.
Okay.
I mean, when you got that going, he's going, we got to have a loop.
Mm-hmm.
We need a water supply going up Dan Road across and hooking back in. Where if you have an issue, till it here and you're still feeding there. But it's just the foresight for that.
Mm-hmm.
And really, as far as planning and things for the county, he's just good vision. You really look at it for the county. And so, I'm a real supporter of his.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing on Scott, I've taught most of him, allowing him to resign instead of firing him. Maybe that wasn't the thing to do.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, my whole career, when me or my department ever had a slip up, I always kind of got them together. I say, okay, now this is what went on. This is what we did. We should have done so and so. This is a lesson learned. Next time this comes up, that's how you grow. That's how you develop.
Did that process happen?
Yeah, and as far as this other issue, that's I really don't want to comment on that. I don't think it was an issue, and the truth will come out.
So your position is that Mr. Simpson's competence, like his ability to
he was
procure
great. Yeah.
things for the money, and you believe on the whole, even if there were some scandals, that his job performance showed a positive intention, or showed that he was focused on the right things for the county.
I'm not going to say scandal. It's the Tom Moser thing. Maybe that was. I'm not going to call that a scandal. Maybe he should have fired him on his spot instead of allowing him to resign.
But the
to me, I work with people like myself, and if I got a guy that I need to get rid of, if he'll resign, he could save face and go on down the road. To me, that's a proper thing to do instead of just firing somebody.
Even when a public pension is on the line.
Well, the people. Well, I don't know that he got that far down the line to realize that. But I do know. Scott
didn't think that through.
Well, I'm going to say that you sitting there, you think everything's going on good in the county, and next thing you know, your animal control officer calls you up and goes, or the state police says he's on the investigation. He goes to these times. I said, yeah, I did it. And I read his first thing. He said, well, you need to resign. I don't think that. I don't think it was malicious. I don't think there was anything.
It wasn't strategic. It was just a rapid. In your opinion,
in my opinion,
it just happened rapidly.
In my opinion, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and to me that's and if that was the case, it did come back before the board,
right? And
it was turned and it was turned over to VRS to make a determination.
Yes.
On what to do
later on.
That's correct.
Yes. And after later on is after the sentencing in January 2023 is later on past that too.
Yeah.
Well, So, but what I'm hearing is that the good that he brought outweighs the the specter of possible poor decisions. The things that you see that you think clearly indicate good judgment outweigh the perception of bad judgment.
Oh yes, yes. Thank you for.
That's
rewording it like you did there at the last, but
that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. So in other words, the good outweighed the bad.
Tremendously.
And you think
tremendously.
And you think they made a mistake?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. The county will pay for it.
Yes. Well, how will the county pay for it in your opinion, or how are we already paying for it? I'm
gonna tell you. I think we're gonna struggle to find someone with as broader knowledge as he had to handle the many different things that go on in the county.
Well, do you think that the scandal of all this and the board factionalism, do you think that will negatively impact our ability to get a good county administrator? I mean, do we look like we have our
Well, I'm gonna tell you what.
Do we look like we have our crap together?
If I was looking for a job as a county administrator,
Yeah,
I would do my homework and see where I'm going before I went there.
I surely.
And if I was worth a pinch of salt,
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
so you're.
So I am concerned about the pool that we're going to draw from.
Well,
Now, I may be wrong, but I am concerned. I am concerned.
Okay.
And, and people in this type business, you think about it, you got 103 counties in the state.
Yeah.
So you only got like 100 county administrators.
Mm-hmm.
And you got assistants, but these people meet, they talk, they know and they
Right.
they network.
Well,
what's going on in your county? How did you solve this? I mean, back and forth. So people know it's their thing.
Yeah, they have conferences. So do we have a reputation of being scattered and dramatic and dysfunctional?
We should.
So that's maybe Miss Morgan's willing to do it 2 days per week forever.
Well, no, I don't know, but anyway.
But I'm just saying. I mean, it might not all hope might be lost. You know what I mean? So okay. Anything else to say about that before we move on to the next topic?
No, I'm good with that.
Anything you want to ask or add? Okay.
Okay.
All right. So recent flashpoint events that have gotten a lot of attention on social media have highlighted how strained race relations are here in Halifax County. If you are reelected, would you prioritize addressing this issue, and if so, how would you address it?
That's that's a tough one. How do you change people's attitudes,
Right.
And how do you change how people deal with one another?
Right.
I mean, it's I don't know if it's what's going on locally or what's going on nationally. Of course, we've got it's more divided in Washington wider than it's ever been.
That's right.
You don't find any middle ground anymore.
That's right.
And I try to seek middle ground, and it's but until we get people where they will speak to one another or talk to one another, treat each other with dignity and respect. And that's what, but I don't know what I can do on the board to cause it to happen. I do know that I can do that myself on the board and set an example of that.
Mm-hmm.
But
so in other words, it might not be the Board of Supervisors' purview to address how people think and feel about each other.
Well, I mean, but the Board of Supervisors can set a good example of how people feel and think about one another and function.
So in other words, you guys are leaders. You're not just leaders in terms of the business that you conduct for the county. You're leaders in the community as well. Yeah. So it's more about helping fix the problem might be more in the arena of unofficial duties as opposed to official duties.
I would say yes.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
So do you think that you and all the other board members do have a responsibility as community leaders to take on that unofficial duty?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do, and I'll be quite as a board member.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is to set policy, to assist the staff, provide them the research, and give them direction.
Right.
I mean, they need to. We need to point them where we want them to go. We need to let them go.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to be there again in the weeds, micromanaging, and also belittling people, criticizing, harassing. We don't. That's totally.
Is all that happening? Micromanaging, harassing, etc.
Oh yeah.
From board members.
Yes, from certain board members.
From certain board members to the county employees.
Yes.
Are you able to say more? Are you able to name names?
No. I'm gonna leave it at that.
We're gonna leave it there.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. You got a question, Lisa?
From a watcher?
Okay.
you may or may not be able to answer this. If an artist in their own home has to apply for conditional use permit to continue to sell art, do they have to apply for conditional use permit to continue to sell art?
Selling art out of their home, in other words.
No.
Okay.
No, you have certain things. You have certain things that you can do, and it's all in the code. But certain things are by right, and some are by conditional use permit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the viewer says that they registered as a business to pay state taxes, but then found out they live in an R1.
Oh, okay.
So again,
that may be part of the code.
Well, if you don't have foot traffic, it shouldn't be that big a deal. Because, for example, people run online businesses and they put their registered address as their home. So, like, you can run an online business, but I think the zoning law would come into place if she's having foot traffic, or he, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a question for the planning.
I was just going to say, who would they call to get a specific
that
answer?
That would be our planning and zoning, director of planning and zoning, Mr. Dietrich Easley.
Dietrich Easley, planning and zoning. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. We hope, and report back if you find out.
Yeah.
We'd like to know too. So, okay, I'm going to move on to the last question I have here. Lisa might have something to follow up with. As of 2023, U.S. Census data shows that the percentage of our Halifax County population living below the poverty line is 17.9%. This represented an additional 3.2 percentage points from the previous year. The childhood poverty rate, children 18 and under, is at 28.7%. And the young childhood poverty rate, children ages 5 and under, is at 26.8%. Local leaders love to boast about recent economic development gains in the county through recent years. Yet, these poverty numbers never get significantly better and are trending in a bad direction. You've been on the board for 4 years and another 2 years prior to that. If reelected, would you prioritize reducing the poverty rate and the childhood poverty rate? And if so, what would you do differently, as it seems that current approaches are not working?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm sure it was an easy answer to it. Things would be trending in the other direction. I feel like that, number one, poverty is lack of money, which maybe means lack of jobs. And maybe they don't have jobs because there's a lack of training. Maybe there's a lack of education. So we need to support our educational system to try to make sure that everyone that comes through that school system, they have a chance to go on to further education, or they receive training where they can work in some of our local industries or with our local people that's in business for themselves, in construction, industrial, whatever. But it's a lot of the poverty is generational too. And I think it starts with if young children lead by example. I mean, and they do what they see. If they're in a situation where their parents solve conflicts by physical altercations, when they go to school, that's how they're going to solve their conflicts. If their parents don't seem to have a work ethic, they see that's what they emulate. I'm not sure how you instill work ethic at a young age, and I don't want to put it on the schools, because I know I was involved in the schools all these, and I knew they had all kind of programs. They started, and it used to be we went to school first grade, and then they got kindergarten,
right,
and now they got pre-K. So they're trying to bring these children younger and bring them up and do. But I mean, but it's not all education either. It's housing. Housing is an issue in our county.
Affordable housing, definitely.
Yeah, and it's when you live in a certain type standard of home, you don't realize how some people live.
Mm.
And when I go out and I'm knocking on doors to get signatures, I'm going like, I walk up steps and knock on the door and back off real quick. So I'm going like, is this? But it's just, but you had that. But then again, that person may not could do better than that. I don't know the answer, but but realize that being concerned and make sure that we as a county provide what we need to the school systems for education, provide what we need to do to these technical facilities to get the skills they need. Also make sure we bring in jobs or provide jobs. Not everybody's not everybody's going to go to Hitachi and build a transformer. But we need a varied thing. But we just need to keep on trying and chipping away, and hopefully we can turn it around. If it was a magic wand, somebody already been away.
I noticed that there's no committee here of these committees that you guys do that has the word poverty in it. When you guys do your work as supervisors and working with other people who are in economic development here in Halifax County, how often does the word poverty come up? Like how often does these numbers come up that I just said to you?
They do come up when presentations are given. But it's more.
It's
more related to social services and food banks and that type of stuff.
So it's never discussed as an initiative or like an actual issue that you guys need to take on.
Well, it is an issue that everyone needs to be concerned with.
But
it needs to be taken
is it discussed as such in an official capacity?
I don't recall that being discussed.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Took a while to get that out.
To get that honesty. Yeah, because I don't hear anyone saying the word poverty. I just think, do you think at that level, nearly 18%, nearly 29% of children, at these numbers, should it be a priority?
Yes. That is a high percentage.
If reelected, is there something you can do to bump it up the priorities list?
Be aware. Just be aware. And try to make sure it's in discussions.
And say it more and make other people aware?
Well, we can, but I'm sitting here now, I'm going like, how's this going to fit in? How's it going to fit in?
So you guys have too many other priorities to bump up?
I'm not saying it's not, you said that me trying to put real words.
I'm interpreting what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Well, true. But, I don't know how to answer that.
Can you commit to trying to try?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great.
All right. So
do you have any other questions? That was my last one.
Yes. There's a strategic planning committee that actually just met today, and I wanted to ask you what you feel like the top 3 priorities are for Halifax County looking forward, but I think I've heard them: education, jobs, and housing. Now, do you have... You probably don't, but I'm going to ask anyway, like some concrete ideas. For example, I just read, Halifax Pharmacy just announced they're closing today. We just lost Walgreens. Where does that leave? CVS? To meet our pharmaceutical needs.
And Walmart.
Well,
and Walmart. Yeah.
Walmart.
I don't count them for too much. But I'm seeing shrinkage, not expansion. Now, I know that that's specifically what the strategic plan is there for, is to address some of these issues. And you've pretty much pinpointed those 3 things. Do you have any thoughts or ideas or that you've kicked around to kind of break this wall that we have? Like bringing in more jobs. How would you do that? What are some ideas? You see what I'm saying?
By that you mean turn us around where things are...
Yes, because things seem dire right now.
Things are growing and not shrinking.
I don't...
the reverse.
Oh, wait a minute.
Shrinking, not
I'm
growing.
kind of...
No, to get it to that point.
Yes, to get it to grow, not shrink.
All businesses and everything is the corporation, they getting bigger, we get more... Yeah.
Oh, food
you
line.
get the AI going on there, and it's more technology based, and you don't have the people. Times have changed, and it's and I don't know. Maybe the days of having all these different pharmacies. I'm even. I'm concerned about the hospital over here, but it's I recall years ago somebody could go in the hospital and you could be over there a week, 10 days or whatever. Nobody's over 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then it's just.
Well, there's
So-
no maternity ward anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about AI taking over jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Has that been kicked around as discussion?
Well, they say it won't, but yeah.
Well, let's hope that's a question for the strategic planning committee, I would think, right?
Well, yes, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share with our listeners, Mr. Roller, before we wrap it up?
Well, I mean, yeah, I come in to interview, and of course, I gotta do a little bit of campaigning while I'm here. So basically, hey, in conclusion, if elected to the Board of Supervisors to do another term, I pledge to be transparent and welcome input from all people in Halifax County. I'll give individual consideration to each issue, and before the board, without loyalty to others, and I'll be prepared, accessible, and do the best I can for the citizens of Halifax County.
Wonderful. Do you have a campaign website or anywhere where people go check your stuff out?
No, I do not.
Will you return your constituents' phone calls?
Oh, I do return. I do return my phone calls.
Phone calls and emails.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking. I wasn't accusing Mr. Roller. I was just asking.
And I don't
Larry Roller,
think...
we appreciate you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yes, likewise. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we wrap it up.
Okay, we're wrapping up.